the word. Sure, you are the word. So not supposed to hide the word. Supposed to share it and study it and have a relationship, not a religion. So thank you, Father, for prayer, to have one-on-one time, and that you're inside me. You're not in a temple house made by hands, that you reign within the heart. You reign like, whoa, like the writers of Revelation, right? So the one with the sword, the Hokadesh and flesh, the one that has the scepter, holds the crown, is the high priest of the church over the body. He is the head, we are the body. So remember when he said, eat my body, he's not talking about flesh. It's masse, that's human flesh. So thank you, Father, for that. So the masse, they like to masse, go round and round, and that's what they do. So thank you for setting apart. You only love your bride, and many are called, but few oligos are chosen. So you said, fear not, only fear the Lord. So oligos flock, right? Only those who find the straight gate, oligos. His bride is a teeny tiny. Father's flock is it's a little puny fraction of the whole, of all flesh this time, not just Aaron and Levi, the high priest of old, but now Shiloh, the one with the scepter, right? Two riders in Revelation, two white horses. So Revelation, right? I am. That's what we do here. We go over this daily crucifixion, daily suffering, daily charity. Agape is charitable. I'm supposed to share the light, don't hide it. It's part of being a disciple, to go out and bear witness. So can't be quiet. It's not a quick fix or a one-time belief or a thought. That's a belief is a verb. Belief is not a thought. You can't believe in God. That's not that. Got to go back to school, basically, when it comes to the word, because we all fall short of the word, and we don't take the time to define. So if you just pause for a second, the word is Hokadesh. That is Father, the Most High. That is the word. So Shiloh is the word that became flesh, that returns to redeem. Redemption. Remember he said, look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. So there's a crowning, remember, an inheritance, or the heirs to the throne of God will be crowned at the wedding feast of the lambs, at the wedding supper, the lamb's supper, right? Remember, they ate lamb at the last supper. So he tells us not to sup with vipers. So he is our prize. He is the one we are supposed to be running to. Remember, he says, don't cast your pearls before swine. So pearls, your prize. So you can't leave your treasure on this rock, right? Or you'll have no inheritance. You'll spend it. Spend it. It's all spent. You're spent. Like a child, you put money in a savings account. They can understand that, right? You spent all your money. So, but well, we only do the gospel in here. I don't care about stupid Walmart laughy face. Waltons. How about that? You know anything about the Waltons? Sam Walton, ones who interned Americans during World War II, liked history. There's no philosophical, where we go over the aletheia in here. Aletheia is truth. If you pervert, that's the Hebrew word. To twist, froward, is the Hebrew word froward. Remember, he said, you frowarded my agape. But most people don't speak. Well, America's the only ones that speak one language, but their dialect is gloss, a tongue. No such thing as speaking in tongues as alien. No such thing as aliens. Holgadesh is the word ghost. No such thing as Father is ghost. So you can ghost on out of here. Eh? Kick rocks, whatever you want to do. Pound sand, I don't care. Jimmy crack corn, I don't care. Can't serve two masters. So remember, he said he'd send two witnesses, right? He always declares. Remember, it makes it a contract. So it's all about the wedding. But most people are religious idiots, and they have their own philosophy, philosophical. Maybe they're philanthropist or some kind of rich prick, or well, you know, like a thorn in your side. Like if they give you roses, watch out for the thorns. So like a crown of thorns. So, ooh, maybe we'll send you some black roses. So they like to play their own tune. You know, we don't have the same taste in music for most people, so I have my own, right? They have your own wave, right? So most people can't handle it. It's too intense. Not sure that answers my question. Okay, goodbye, child. Get away from me. I don't want to be with people who want to sup with the worldly things, flashy things. Goodbye. Thanks for coming in. Father creates all things, everything not written, everything that ever will be. So there's no such thing as free will, no such thing as luck. Put that in your little jot notebook. Take that before you go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke on that there. Remember? Put that in an apple or something. You can chooch on that a little bit. Stovepipe. Oh, these worldly things. World, like WHIRLED or WORLD. Are you spinning on a ball? Planet Earth is not below your feet. Heaven's not above your head, so it's not 2025. So most people don't even know what time it is because they're too pondering and wandering off in their own mind. Well, idolatry. How about that? They make up their own versions of what they think. They have no definition. Aletheia is the word truth in Greek. If you leave the definition, you have to define every word that comes out of your face. Remember? Do you understand? If you understand, you can get off your knees. I know when I've been licked. So, the alien English American slang dialect, this is right. It's watered down. Most people don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what time it is, nor do they know any words that come out of their face. They speak English, and they're blessed by their tongue. They're alien. They believe in Bigfoot or believe in Jesus or believe in Anakin Spacewalker or whatever. Sky Daddy, Skywalker. There we go. But they're space boats, right? They fly around in their space boats, and the water's above, and the firmament, and the water's below. Under the sea. They like to play with people's minds. They do. They poke at their eyeballs and see where children tell them lies to their vision and play visual voodoo with them. It's like it is. They sting you with the spelling bee, didn't they? Did you go to the spelling bee? Did you get stung by the curses and spell casting, curses and cursive, and telling lies to your vision, television, and yes, they like to spell, cast, and channel you with waves and program you. Remember? It's like a rhythm cycle. Like an algorithm is a dancer. Remember? Rhythm is a dancer. Just toying in here because time, after time marches on. So just don't sup with vipers. So anything worldly, I don't want nothing to do with it. It's all a waste of time. Time after time, right? So another day clicked off closer to death, right? We're supposed to die to self daily. And that written in the book of Matthew. Nobody reads the books, the scriptures, the letters, the jots, the odes, the tittles. He said, don't change, don't add, don't take away, don't pervert my word. Pervert. They're corkscrewing. Perverts like pigs, Porky Pig, That was electric. Oh, well. Kind of like a DNA strand of protein, but never mind, we'll electrify you. You'll be a antenna. How about that? We'll patent you. 060606. We'll do it by the number. They'll like to patent your frequency wave. Remember? Sorrows, or sorrow. You know what sorrows is? So, sorrows. Hold on. Tighten up your bra straps there, ladies. Bootstraps. Brothers and sisters, it's going to get up to be a wild ride. Hold on. It's not going to be peace. That's far from. So what's your plan? Do you have mobility, wings of an angel? So you sit there like a duck in a pond waiting to be shot, remember? We don't need no education. How many paper plates you got? That's one of my best survival. How many paper plates? Paper. You'll have more water to wash your private bunghole part, teepee for your, well, you'll be able to have to wash your parts, body parts, lady parts. Keep all your parts inside the ride until it's come to a complete stop. So, how many paper plates you got? How about that first? That's some good survival tactics, right? Wash body parts instead of plates. Because your butt needs to get the flock out of Dodge. So, you might wash it in the river, but I don't know. Might wipes, kind of like my wipes. Wipes are kind of a luxury, but I don't know. What does toilet paper and Star Trek have in common? They both fly around Uranus looking for Klingons, so the wipes are kind of a nice thing to have. So you tell me. So it's all right. I'm just in it to share. Remember, he said be charitable with his word, and he tells us to prepare. Have extra oil. He's still preparing. Remember, Noah prepared for 126 years, and they called him, scoffed at the old man, told me it was crazy. It never even rained. Not a single drop. Not one. You ever read the book of Luke? And then it rained. Gee, what side of the door were you on? So, man, there must have been some claw marks on that door, huh? Let it in. Talk about up to your neck. Bubbles. Oh, speaking of bubbles. Hey, NASA, would you like to explain the occurrence of air bubbles in the lunar waves? Remember Aquanet? There was all that, we're all going to die from styrofoam, hairspray. NASA, those are some pretty nice waves, right? So, all right, not a straight answer, not an answer anybody, that's okay. Well, I don't really, like I said, I'm not here for the world. I'm here to do what Father makes me do. He makes me be charitable. I think I'll try to be as patient as I can be. We'll see. We got court in 3 days. So, damn. I'm not done, but that's okay. He said we have to die to be saved. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. There we go. We're all chlorofluorocarbons, polystyrene. Yep, there we go. Little balls, little particle balls. Al Gore. You'll turn on, never going to see snow again. Greta, Mr. Thunberg, whatever that is all about. Get back in the closet, Al Gore, Global warming. Now it's climate change. Hate to break it to you. The climate's always changing. There's cycles within cycles. There is. Remember? Algorithm. Rhythm is a dancer. Oh, my bad. Man, I live in a world full of people that think they're spinning on a planet. So I don't... World. Are you corkscrewing or spinning? Remember? Pervert. You're perverted, so you need to go somewhere else there. Remember? Little styrofoam balls. Balls. So, polypropylene. Yep. That's the military uses that. They do for their liners for Arctic training, and the plastic's terrible polymers. You know how many polymers your dashboard is away from your Velveeta? Eat your dashboard. Eat your kids. Oh. Remember? Used to be all two beef patties. My ass. Now, right there, enough beef on this one. Now, hey, Warp Speed's bringing in Argentina beef and Warp Speed. Yeah, maybe you could settle that up. Strap on that, huh? Maybe some Brazilian beef. So, oh, this guy's on the poly. You know what poly is? Well, poly meaning many. How many polymers? Well, polytick. That's a bloodsucker. Politics, bloodsuckers. Many bloodsuckers, get it? Politics. So, yeah, I don't do politics or religion. Don't like religion, don't like politics, don't like government, don't like cops, don't like, well, most people, when they open their mouth, then I don't like them. I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to be liked by the world. Remember, if you're loved or liked by the world, you'll be hated by my Father. So that's all that matters to me. I'm not here to be nice. Once again, that word means to be stupid. So I'm not stupid or nice. So I don't play nice. This ain't no silly, you're not going to pass go collect $200 reindeer games. I'm not playing Bozo the Clown here. Remember? Remember each kids? Okay, no more polys, or we're going to have to throw you out of here. Too many polys. You're just stuck on poly. So, they do that. There's no zeitgeist poly this. So, we can't, you're getting a little off subject here now. You got to make some sense, like America, that makes no sense. So, Polly want a cracker. Now, that might work. I might let you stay because that was a good one. I kind of like that when they like to parrot the mockingbird media. So that's pretty funny. We have a little humor every once in a while. Can't be all business all the time, man. Polly want a cracker. That's these religions. They parrot. You know, the Satan sun god, their poly god, Baphomet, transgender, poly god, Jesus Christ. The Christ with breast, hoof, horn, and beast, man, beast, and woman. How about that for some poly ball? Playing with their 3 balls. 1, testes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, some Beavis and Butthead, my bad. I know, he's on the poly, terrible, sick. Like poly pack. Do some research what that is. That'll zip lock your ass shut, which, never mind. That's some old shit there, boy. Oh, better bag that up. Put a zipper on that. So, there's some research for you. You don't know nothing about that, do you? Whatever. Little balls, plastic balls, playing with your balls. So, how many balls jumping in the plastic balls at the Chuck E. Cheese, remember? Little games, playing skee ball. All right. Collecting tokens and tickets. Did you get your ticket for the big show? The Big Top Circus. Take it the clouds, remember? Juggling your cuyandas or tomatoes. Well, like ripe tomatoes, I guess, huh? Anyways, the man's nuts, grab him. Get him out of here. Get him up against the wall. Right? There's one in the spotlight. He don't look right. Get him up against the wall. Right? There's one with spots. That's pretty stupid, Mal. That's too many. Polly, well, like I said, Polly want a cracker was kind of the last. Remember, they ate crackers and grape juice. Remember, the Satanists, the Catholics, the Poly. So too much poly in here. So no politics. Poly, ticks meaning bloodsuckers like road raiders or cop suckers. No cop suckers, no bloodsuckers, no pig lickers. I don't support government, religion, or anybody who's vain, who's a viper. So I just show them in the narrow way. So I don't have to support. I don't have to like. Remember, I don't have to be nice. This means to be stupid. So don't be stupid. You might, well, not by chance. This might learn something. But most people, like I said, I like them until they open their mouth. So some people don't like me when I walk in the room. I don't even have to say anything. So it's just that, Hulkadash, not some spinning on a ball, crystal ball camp spirit Hulk, like burning the Nagachampa wearing sandalwoods or, Birkenstocks and tie-dye. Spirit is not hippie, although some people say you live like a hippie, but that's okay because I live off the grid. I don't do this on the grid. So I like to be natural, homeopathic. That's more of my, so back to the future, if you will. So you keep doing the snakes up the pole and keep letting them feed you the big farm guy with your big top. They'll keep these top pharmakia, the snakes. They like to, as a snake before you let me in. John Lennon. Uh-oh. Hippie. What defines a hippie? I know my dad was a hippie. He had longer hair than my mom at their wedding. And my mom had long hair. So, well, anyway, they wore all the sun patches and did the. Anyways, I know my parents were definitely they had something go because the doctor put my name in not all capital letters. So, yeah, man, how about that? Stick that in your apple pipe and smoke on that from birth. Chooch on that. So, remember Leviathan in the garden? They're snakes. I don't know what they're. Well, I was a snake before you let me in, remember? And then he let Joe Biden in. So, I don't do none of this nonsense. Like I said, Back to the Future. How about a high-tech redneck? Just because you're holistic doesn't mean that you're a hippie. Or if I say spiritual, that doesn't mean that I burn Nagachampa, wear Birkenstocks, and have tie-dye, or I'm going to get some weird Dungeons and Dragons nonsense. But spirit is the word Hokadesh, because I rebuke religion with the word. Father does it, not me. I just use the word. That's what it does. That he rebukes the word itself. But some people, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's the stupidest thing ever. You can't rebuke anybody in the name. There's no name. It says Shem. There's no Jesus. So these people are childish, and that's okay. Father is the word, Hokadesh, spirit. So we're not going to burn some Nagachampa in here, some sandalwood, incense, and be hippies or whatever they. Nothing wrong with hippies because they're more holistic, but I'm not saying that, dreaded hair and, like I said, the whole, liberal. That's like a liberal now. Oh, they're a liberal, I live in Oregon. That's one of the most, Eugene is liberal, Lane County. Well, you have to drive a Subaru and have dreaded hair and, wear tie-dye and kind of a silly, what's your take on life and death being the power of the tongue? Well, there you go. The power of the tongue. Tongue is vocabulary. My people shall perish for lack of tongue. Bis, knowledge. Abyss, Revelation 9:11, they have a king over them. Angelos, the definition of angel is messenger. Angelos, angel, messenger. There's no such thing as speaking in tongues. There's no such thing as alien. No such thing as planet. No such thing as free will. Yeah, I know, that's what I say. Do not think I came to bring peace. I came to bring a sword of division that would divide. Thank you, Justin. It's all right. Well, I don't want to take a poly, or philosophy or some of these, philanthropists. Remember, it's just get away from me. Do not judge them by their cover. You know them by their fruit. Their tongue, their dialectus, their glossa. That is the word tongue. Tongue is your vocabulary. So that's easy. If you add, then you're going to go death. If you said you add a jot, death, add a tittle, death, add a thought, death. Death is the abyss. Death isn't you die and go below your feet and go to hell. That's not what hell's not. Hell's no abyss. Abyss is the word knowledge. My people shall perish. They'll gnash teeth for eternity. Welcome to eternity. You're in eternity right now. So don't freak out. Because you go to hell for eternity. You don't know what hell is. It's not below your feet. So can't turn goats into sheep. So add a thought. Old Testament. Remember? Well, one sin, death. One sin, venial or mortal sin. The word, remember? The mark. The word mark, karak or character. To sin is to be off the mark. So one sin, death. One thought, death. This is New Testament. This Old Testament, New Testament. One sin, venial or mortal, death. Abyss, hell, you go to hell. One thought, death. Pornea is the Greek word, pornea. I'll give you all the definitions. So I know what Revelation 9:11 says they have a king. Remember? They have a king over the king of the, remember the key, the Hamashiach holds the key, holds the scepter to the crown. He's the one who will restrain, lift the restrainer. Remember? The one that's locked up in the abyss in Revelation 9:11. 4 plus 5 is 9, 4 plus 7 is 11. That's right. Here we are, 10 months in. So they're lost. Spinning on a ball camp. This one time in ball camp. So Revelation 9:11 is a messenger. That king over Apollyon. There's a Greek word there that's written right, and a Hebrew word, Abaddon, Abaddon John. Oh, no, that's not what it says. Just kidding. Last one was just a joke, remember? Abaddon John, final Trump. So, horn, shofar, last Trump. So, remember, all this is already written. You're not going to, you add a jot or a tittle, that's death. You add a thought, that's death. Yes, I went and got a tattoo the other day because I couldn't be patient. And I knew I had to wait for my attorney to call the next day. So I didn't want to sit there all day and sulk and be mad at myself because I didn't have patience. So I went to town. Got another, obviously, the second crown. So 3 crowns. One was 1, 2, 3. So different crown, not a king's crown. The crown of thorns they put on him, the crown of thorns, right? So more work. So it's all part of the lesson. Remember, he holds the key. There's 2 gates. Gates. They have a key. Key's the restrainer. He holds the restrainer to the key to the pit, abyss. It's all part of the lesson, Rusty. Nuts, these bolts. Nuts and bolts. We got screwed! All right, just kidding. I think we've done that. God is said to have tattoos, right? No, I didn't say I have tattoos. I never heard anything about him having tattoos. So, Father doesn't have flesh. So, Father is Hokodash spirit. So, buzz on that, huh? So, he had to birth a flesh vessel to fulfill the Gentile nation. That's what this covenant is all about. Black, white, brown, red, yellow. All the colors. So, yeah, but it doesn't say Lord of Lords because there's no such thing as Lord. It doesn't say Lord. There's never, Lord is never, Sid Barrett. There you go. Sid. Do you know Snoopy? Snoopy? Oh, you're in the doghouse now. So, Trips to the Doghouse by Snoopy. Trips. Acid Trips. Oh, never mind. Yeah, there may have been. I'm not, I know what you're talking about, what it said, but again, we'll use the Lord, King of Kings and Master. Remember, he is the one who holds the high priest. That is Shiloh, the one with the sword of the vision. The one who, remember, the severing of the head of judgments by Father, that he stands in at judgments where we have nobody there to hold our hands. There will be three, you, Father, and Shiloh. And if you don't have the covering and you don't have a crown, if you don't have a crown to set at the feet of Shiloh, then you're not going to receive your inheritance and you're going to hell. You're not written in the book of life. You will not there to sup. Remember, your Shem will be called out in the book of life. That's your, remember, not some 3 or 5 letter word or some fleshy phileo, So it isn't. That's not how it works. Works. There we go. Do not judge them by their cover. You know them by their fruit, right? Yeah. Faith without works is dead. So we have to be girded in his service. He said, trim your lamps, have extra oil, and be girded loins. So let's get up off your ass. You have to be able to learn to be a disciple. You have to understand what the commandment is, to bear witness and bear your cross, be crucified and suffer and be put through an extreme press heat process, or to be refined as gold and silver. So you just don't suffer the word enough to remember what the word tells you. But it's already on the hearts of the bride. They just seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive, knock and I will sup with you. And we're told not to sup with vipers or cast our pearls before swine. So remember, it was written on stone tablets, and they had, remember, altar temples, all these tablets, and they ate, at tables and showbread, and all this is, there you go. Listen, brothers and sisters, this is already, where this covenant that we are under, this testament is a spiritual covenant that he made over 2,600 years ago, that made all flesh rituals, fine, celebration, blotted out. And now it's on the hearts of the bride in the book of Colossians 2:14, with the blood that he shed for his bride. Those are the ones, they shed blood as baptism. That's a bapto or baptizo, to be covered, overcome, right? Overcome, not covered, to be overcome, not dipped, but to be overcome completely, inside and out. That way you will never go back and be changed to what you were. That's like forgiveness doesn't come without being rebuked by the word, walking in repentance, and then forgiven. So baptizo or bapto is to be covered in a red pitch, blood, stain, or dye. It doesn't say water. That's a halakha ritual. So I guess you know what I'm saying. But that's the loins, the thigh. You're taking it, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you right now, Rusty. In the same passage, have your loins girded in my service. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, will your loins be girded? Your works will be called out in that book. Your name, your Shem, your Agape will be called out. Not Rusty or Tracy or Tom or Sarah or Bob. That's not what's going to be called out in the book of life. That's not what that people, well, there's a wedding ledger and it's going to be your name in there, and I'm going to call out your name. And I used to say silly stuff like that, Well, you have to mirror him. So you have to be that ticket. It's just a lesson. I can still teach a lesson more refined. Back in the day, I used to teach it as like going to a carnival, or like when you were young, you go to a fair or something, and you'd have the tickets, the dual tickets, and they put one in the fishbowl, and then they call out your numbers, and that is, by the number there is a 144, and it's not a literal number, because that's not what that means either at all. That's the covenant of all flesh, Jew, Gentile, black, brown, white, red, yellow, man and woman. 144, all 12, from all 12 of the tribes of Israel, Old Testament, making this covenant now, remember? So, loins girded in my service, will your lamps be trimmed? Because nobody knows the day or the hour, meaning you may lay in the dirt and you might not be redeemed until I come back thousands of years later, which he made a covenant 2,600 years ago with his bride. So what he's telling us in this passage is, are you doing my will? Like he said to Peter, it's the same thing. I'll keep teaching you it over and over. The service of the Lord. Lord is your master. He says you can't serve two masters, right? Master is the word Lord. It's never written in the scripture. So it's the same passage that it's telling us that we must be girded, extra oil, have extra oil. So he's like, you better be doing my will. The eye is the lamp of the body. The eye is the lamp of the body. Remember, the body is the temple. Put me at the top of your house and let it shine. The eye is the lamp of the body. If it's filled with light, then the whole vessel, the whole lamp, it's filled with light, and we are the vessel. The body is the vessel. We are the temple, and he is the high priest of the church. He is the head. We let him speak for us. We don't judge with our own version. Well, obviously, like I said, it's the same reference to heaven. Heaven is heaven. It's heaven. 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 Master, heaven. Ruling class. Put it in there, Rusty. Heaven. Heaven. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The king, high priest of the church, put me at the top of your house, not somewhere in the sky. This is what everybody mix. This is your inheritance. This is what the skies will roll back like a scroll. Sky, meet him in the sky. Above, in the sky. You better get that, Rusty. Hope you see what it is. Heavens. Who's ruling you? Does your head tell your body what to do? Or does your body tell your mind what to do? You have a weak mind? Christ in you, right? Who's leading you? It's a moral compass, if you will, right? In a dark place, put that light at the top of your house so others can see that as well. If the eye is filled with darkness, then the whole vessel, the whole lamp is filled with darkness, remember? If the eye is filled with light, the whole vessel is filled with light. If the eye is filled with darkness, the whole vessel, the whole lamp, they don't mix. Oil and water, dark and light. You've got to be doing me. That's phileo. Phileo is worldly things. So that passage is telling us that Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, because he is the one that's mastering our dialectics, gloss of tongue, and he leads our verbiage, our vernacular. So heaven is inside you. That's right. That's right. Heaven is the top of the house, the high priest who controls the earth. The earth is the rule. Who's ruling you? Is the flesh ruled by the heavens? Or is this somebody else talking up there in your head? You think he's somewhere in the sky? You need to leave. Unsubscribe, go somewhere else. Father doesn't come from a ball in the sky. Never has and never. He spoke all of this into existence. So he doesn't come from balls in the sky. He's never going to accept that he's balls in the sky. Stop it. Your little eyeballs, you're serving dirt. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Stop rubbing your balls. Looking at me like dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, like I'm crazy. Heavens is the ruling class. Who rules your daily? There's a voice upside there. Inside, it's not called Jiminy Cricket's conscience. There's no such thing as a conscience. It's called Hokadesh. It's always been there since you were a child. It has. At one point in time, it wasn't. There was an innocence about you. You could walk up to a red ball in the yard and see the ball and pick it up and play with it and walk right out of the yard and not even realize that you just committed theft. You don't realize that you're childish, you're innocent, and that's where he tells us to be like that. Actually, That's how he wants us to be. For real. You have to either be hot or cold, or I'll vomit you from my mouth. Remember, he said when he was here, he said, he was in that score. He said, you bring that child up to me. Remember, he said he must be innocent as a child to return to father. So you can't think about these worldly phileo things. Remember? Yeah, that's very important. Because, yeah, we all fall short of this word too, brothers and sisters. So it's very important. And that's why he said you be hot or cold, or I'll vomit you from my mouth. So if you're hot for Father, you're going to be, the word is going to lead you. It's going to be the fire at the top of your house, the light. You're not going to deny him. If you deny me in front of your friends and your family and your modern day social media space, I'll deny you in front of Father. So, again, what we want to focus in on is that what rules our house, our body, is the word, and that what comes out of our mouth is the gospel, and we need to stick to the gospel and stay gospel focused, because all these things will be revealed to us after death. So that's why I try not to complicate. So I'm saying it's the high priest to the church, the heavens, the ruling class. So it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. It's who Father. It's Israel, the 12 tribes. Jacob, who he loved. Remember, he had a family, the 12 tribes against the great sea. He so loved, he gave him the inheritance, called him Israel, right? Esau, he hated. He stole his brother's inheritance. Nimrod killed him, killed his brother, stole his inheritance. It was all about an inheritance and a wedding. So that's why I like to stick to this gospel. You know what I'm saying? And stay hyper-focused. Who leads your house? Who's your leader? He had a leader. Now it's not some place in the middle of the desert. It's that voice inside our head. Remember, you go up and take that ball, and at one point that voice turns on and tells you, you take that ball, little Jenny's mom's going to come out and whoop your, what you're doing. Yeah, dad's going to come out. See, that's the Hokadesh. That's the spirit inside of the hearts of the bride. It's that voice inside you. The kingdom of heaven is within. There's no gods in the sky. That's Baphomet worship. That's satanic, Satanism. Catholicism, the cross, the Ankh, right? The swastika, the cross, crucifixion, the cross, cross is Satan, Jesus Christ, right? Birthed on December 25th in the middle of the winter, Apollyon, same thing. Birth, the resurrection, it's the standing up, the crucifixion, right, of their sun god. Their dialect is ruled by gods in the sky. Augustus, Julius Caesar, all these, remember all these, you can go back to all these deities, little g gods, I can name off them, all of them that they have throughout time. Apollyon, Mithra, you know what I'm saying? So people don't want the word. They don't want the word. They want the perverted version. You know what I'm saying? So Helios, Apollyon, Amun-Ra, the same deity, the god of three genders, Baphomet, Bel, Jezebel. Remember, that's worship of the sun god in the middle of the winter. Tree gods, grove, Baal in the grove. Sun worship is Bel. You can give them a million names. Beelzebub, Satan, Apollyon, Christos, Massey, the son of the god of the middle of the winter god, birthed in a manger. Christianity, Catholicism, Mormonism, temple gods. Same thing, old ritualistic celebrations. That's Old Temple, that's Old Testament. That's fake. You were warned about. Many will come in my Shem, and they'll be deceived. So remember, he destroyed the physical temple, the physical rituals. They ate lamb, not crackers and grape juice. I want to hear your puffy little story about you little marshmallow gods, your Ghostbusters, or wherever that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, or I want to hear a sugar-coated peep out of you. You don't know what you're talking about. at all. You know, not pointing at any of you, the world. You sit there and it's not 2025. New Year's does not start in the middle of the winter, you fool. April Fools. New life, New Year's springs up when? In the spring. So, but you celebrate, and you're not supposed to celebrate a single day. The celebration of birth is Satanism. The cross, the pagan, is the Ankh. That is the deadly head wound of Satanism. Eating flesh of men, that's Masse. Yeah, human flesh. Doesn't that be man, woman, human. Eat your kids. Dee. How's that taste for you? Maybe it's bleached kids. Chicken nuggets, right? What kind of flavored bleached? Maybe bleached bunghole like Michael Jackson or something, huh? Oh, that wasn't very nice. Oh. So that's what I'm saying. They become a tradition to sacrifice. They only care about the homeless on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Remember? So they're a slave to tradition. Oh, I do. Catholicism is Satanism. That's the swastika. That's the deadly head wound that was healed in Rome by Constantine, right? That was outlawed by the two pontiffs. It's the wheel worship. You know what I'm saying? I got it up. The swastika. You've been here, Rusty. You know what that is? It's the swastika. Why do you think the Catholics do the cross and the rosary? Holy Mary, Mother of God. That's the blending. Remember, Constantine thought he was going to lose his empire to these Vandal tribes, these Gothic and Ostrogoths and Visigoths and Vandals. Remember, all they were worshiping Baal, sun worship. They thought the sun was dying at the equinox. 9:23, 12:23, 3:23, 6:23. That's your swastika. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, sitting there like a duck in a pond waiting to be shot. These people never sit down with the word, and they're just putting it right in front of them. So Catholicism is the deadly head wound that was healed by Constantine when he said, man, I'm going to lose my empire. Remember, he was slaughtering Christians. You know what I'm saying? He was slaughtering Christians. All these Gothic tribes and Vandals and Visigoths, they were going after and killing and slaughtering Christians. Remember, Paul was slaughtering Christians for the church, right? For Christ's sake. Okay. Constantine was slaughtering Christians, and he said, oh my God, these guys are going to slaughter the Christians faster than I can slaughter them. I'll tell you what, we'll all write up this edict of toleration and we'll all get along. We'll accept your pagan gods, your Ankh and your cross and your Mary and your church, you know, the Ankh and the church and the rosary and all the Holy Mary, Mother of God, blessed now or the now or our death. And they blended. He said, look, I'm going to write up this edict of toleration. We'll tolerate your pagan gods and your Christian church, and all define this as one happy family, and I'll write at the edict of toleration. You shut up, Christians, about these Catholic, you know, or these Satan gods of Moloch and Mary and Horus and Isis. These are all the same. Mary and Jesus. It's the same thing. You guys are silly. You just allow them to throw this in front of you, and you just do the same thing where it was outlawed. Remember, the two pontiffs said, we're not doing this swastika. You know, I don't need to put it on the board. You should already have it in your head, you know. Right there. They thought the sun was dying at the equinox, remember? They thought there was a god of heaven spinning the Big Dipper. So, the cross is not, they didn't hang anybody from crosses. Nobody hung from crosses. The cross is Satanism, Catholicism. Remember? He thought he's going to lose his empire, all these Gothic tribes above, you know, the Sumerian tribes above Israel, the 10 tribes where he cut off those tribes, and remember, left Jeremiah and Judah. You don't have any idea. People have forgotten their history of that. But remember all these tribes to the north of Rome? Remember, that's the Great Sea. There's Rome, and right, you remember here in Greece, all that, remember? So all these tribes, these northern tribes, were worshiping Baal, sun worship. They thought the sun was dying at the equinox, and they did all their Samhain rituals. They had offering of burnt offering, right, of humans, because Father used to have a sacrifice of humans. That's Old Testament. But we're not supposed to eat flesh, human flesh. Burnt offerings for a better harvest in the spring. A lot of the scripture is about food, but you're just an idiot because you're a religious ding dong. Freaking gong show your ass right out of here. You know, I want to hear it. So let's flip that around so you don't have to keep looking at that. But see, that's this worship of this sun and wheel, and the wheel. They thought there was a god of heaven spinning the Big Dipper around the North Star. You know, right? You know, there was the god. The North Star was the god of heaven. These northern tribes and gods of the sun and tree gods and Moloch. That's Esau killed his brother Moloch. Remember? Satan, Krampus, Santa. Hello, Jesus Christ, birthed in the middle of the winter. I just showed it to you. But you can't show this to people. They'll still, oh, what the hell, you know. So, but that doesn't matter. People are not, they're accustomed to their customs and celebrations. So they're not disciples. They are already in hell. It's not 2025. You don't live on a planet. There's no such thing as free will. There's no such thing as luck. There's no such thing as fortunes. That's all blasphemy. There's nobody was hung from crosses. That's blasphemy. That's Satanism. That's paganism. Remember, Constantine thought he was going to lose his empire. So he drew up the Edict of Toleration, said, stop slaughtering the Christians. I'll stop slaughtering the Christians. We'll all get along. And that's where all this modern day steeple and cross, and the steeple is the phallic. That's Satan's cock, Nimrod. You celebrate when you rebirth the standing up of the tree worship. Remember? Semiramis cut Satan's body parts, 12 pieces, gathered all except for his monument, monolith, his phallic worship. That is the Washington Monument. The same thing in front of the Vatican. Catholicism. That's cock worship. Like January, Janus with the rooster. February, same thing with the one with the wolf. December, the one they eat the flesh after the king, after having an orgy. Christmas is an orgy. Christmas is an orgy, is what it is. Remember, as a Roman, they loved their orgies. They remember how they went out? Remember? Oh, I am Spartacus. I don't know. Maybe it was Maximus. I don't know. They did a movie about that. I don't really watch TV. So, history, remember, they were doing bestiality and going out gluttonous. You know, Rome went out with kind of like America's doing the same thing. 40% of the world's resources are consumed decade after decade by 3% of the populace. So, welcome to New Mystery Babylon. Rome never died, the Vatican. So, all right. Well, like I said, you can't turn goats into sheep, and I'm not trying to be, you know, change anybody. You know, most people are not very aware of what the word says, and they think it's 2025. So, I can't help people who think it's 2025, brothers and sisters. They're already been cut off. And if they can't listen enough to try to go back and read the word and figure out why are we banging pots and pans after having an orgy and then having more sex, you know, murder and rape and larceny and robbery and domestic violence and abuse and all that every year spikes during the holiday seasons. You know, all these rituals of the sun god in the middle of the winter, candy and more sugar rituals, you know, spring, they break hot cross top buns. When Satan died, she married her son, Tammuz. Christmas is Jesus Christ, whether you like it or not. That's Mass A, Christ Mass. Christmas married Easter. Easter is the spring goddess of sex, the sex goddess Semiramis, who had sex with her son. He loved rabbits. They had sex like rabbits, you silly rabbit. Tricks of her kids. See? That's where your pedophilia comes from, you silly, rabbits. Jackrabbit, huh? How about a jackalope? You've just been fooled, huh? With some perversion there. Their horn god. So. They like to mirror and mock and do all the same things, and that's what they do. That's what Satan is. That's why he's the adversary. He's not some red leotarded little devil on your shoulder or the white devil over here wearing a halo. A halo is the sign of the serpent, like a snake, like a crown. You know, a crown that goes all the way around your head. You know, crown. I'm going to shut this door. Real starting to cool off. Cooling off. So, anyways, let me get on subject here. Let's try to get on subject if we can. And we'll keep the subject here. So, at this point in time, my main focus now, because I don't know what's happening here in the next few days. Something's going to happen here in the next 10 days. Or it won't. Who knows? More wood on the fire here. Had to put some more wood on the fire. Let's put that bad boy on there earlier, huh? We'll put that on there next. We'll get some more coals going. A little chilly out here in the desert. We got firewood, so we're making her work. I think that one might be a little too low. Oh, we'll go the other way with it then. We'll get it to work. All right, there we go. Throw a little. We'll go outside and get some of this wood shavings here. It already took off. It already took off. There was coals in there. There's some wood shavings here. She already took off. All right. Right over there. Right there, right there. Dude, I heard a fly. I heard a fly. No. Hold on. Front door. You can go back out by the screen. That's great. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Come on, fly by the dark street. Outside. Pretty cold out there. Surprised there still flies out there. Surprised there still flies. What do you think, kid? Where you popping for everybody else, kid and boy? Where's your sissy? Jennifer girl! I don't know where Jennifer girl went. Look, she'll show up. She'll show up. Oh, there's that fly. Come on. Fly over there by the door. Shut the door. There's Jennifer girl. There's my little pea. There she is. Alright, we're going to take care of the kittens. And take care of the kittens. Hold on, we'll go get this stuff for the chickens. Let's go give this to the chickens. Oh, I'm going to take care of my animals after they take care of me, so. What they kids? Alright. We'll do that to the chickens. Give that to the chickens. We're saving up there for a couple days, some scraps there for them. So. Alright. Yeah. fire going. What time is it? About 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. What time is it? 2, 3 o'clock? Yeah. Yeah. The fire is nice. Oh. Fire's nice. You guys collecting any, or you guys been getting any copper piece? I'm striking out, man. I feel so silly to not grab them by the frickin' truckloads when you could have got them, but oh well. I have some, but not, you know, could have had a lot more. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. So, nothing like an old El Natural fire there, huh? Yeah, I know a lot of people can't have wood stoves. So it's got the triple wall. You know, it's been a good stove here. So, yep, I know. It costs too damn much, man, to heat and cool, and you could be living geothermally. Make a tiny little fire underground, but yep, I've been there. Pants, would you stop? Come over here, buddy. Come over here with the dad. Come over here with dad. You're such a good boy. You're the best kid I ever did have. My biggest boy. He's my only boy now. It's the only guy that I have. He's the guy that I love. He's my best guy. I just love him. God, he's my boy. You're being such a good boy today. You're being a good guy today. You're being the best kid ever that I ever did pants. Dad's got to turn down the... Would you let Dad up for a second, please? Dad's got to shut the wood stove. Yeah, cold could be good for you, but you don't have to be cold, you know. There are ways around it. Get into the geothermal portion of this rock, and you'll be good. Oh, take a little drink of that coffee, huh? So, but you know, cold can feel so bad it'll burn you. I've lived in Alaska, and you know, I've been in some extreme Arctic, you know, for years at a time. Extreme mountaineering training, cold weather training. Had a lot of cold weather Arctic training, so I know what it's like for the body to be put through some really cold, you know. Try staying outside for like 3.5 weeks, 2.5, almost 3 weeks. Never going inside. I never got any warmer. Thinking like -40 below zero out on the Bolio Range in Delta, Alaska. So cold, you go outside and throw a cup of coffee, it doesn't hit the ground, you know, it turns into vapor. So it's definitely a different type of lifestyle, which you can adapt, you know. So, but the best thing to do now is find yourself a place where you can get into the geothermal area of this rock and go there. You know what I'm saying? Go there. Seriously, you're wasting time. You should be there now. Why are you not there? Go there now. Call now. First 5 callers. Call now. Call now. Call now. No. Call Wayne in 100. Go now. No. Hurry up. No. Don't do it in a hurry. So you can be surprised what you can survive, but if you have the right attire, you know, and you don't panic and get your body in that panic state and start, you know, shock. A lot of people die of shock. So, yeah, like I said, I've lived in Alaska there, and I know it can get. Alaska's cold. Alaska's Arctic. What do you want there, buddy? He's trying to say something. What do you want, my boy? What do you want, boy? What do you want, my kid? So, but yeah, so we're going into a cold, you live on a cold rock. This rock is always cold. We only have very short periods of time where it's not. So we're in one of those times right now, but we're inching back towards that cycle, and we're just one volcano away from going into a nuclear winter where we will be cold. This whole, good portion of this northern portion of our hemisphere, towards the top of our, rock that we walk here, is going to be, it's going to get colder. It's going to go into, again, a nuclear winter. So that is going to happen sooner or later, or the sun will blot us out. It'll take it out our grid, and we could have some kind of electromagnetic pulse. There could be a lot of things, but we're definitely going back into a cold. That's why the governments have been stealing the U.S. tax dollars since the 80s, at least beginning of the 80s. First time I can do my research that I've been studying for decades and boring out the undercarriage, or the under, the under capital, the U.S. under capital is Colorado, NORAD, and they're ready for this event to happen. And they know that when they can get into the core of this rock and survive the minima. And they've done it. That's what the Hopi did. And they're not some kind of lizard people or shapeshifters or scorpion people. And the Hopi were smart enough to get 10 stories under the ground and get into the core temperature of this rock, where they can survive extreme, brutal, extensive periods of cold up top and still make their way to the surface. Like I said, there are these pockets underneath the ground, and they have been using, the government's been stealing and using fusion and fission, pulling apart and pushing back together the rock underneath us, and making caverns, holes, literally glass holes. Stinky Muskrat with his boring company. What do you think he bought a boring company for? He knows. Satellite, they know what's coming. So they can spend all this money on other countries, but they don't harden our grid. You ever notice that? They can spend all these money on wars, give it to other countries, billions of dollars to Israel, hundreds of billions of dollars to spend money, give to Ukraine to fight war, but they don't harden our power grid here in America. Why? Because they already have their own system. They have a hardened grid. You just don't see it. You're blind to it. I see it. I see them install it right in this little teeny town where I'm at, all the solar farms and the geothermal, and it went right around these people, and they didn't even notice it. Now the U.S. Air Force has a military base out there. Oh, I'm not so crazy after all, huh? So we all have our Noah moments, So you do you, I do me. But I'm telling you, if you don't get underneath the surface, you're not going to make it. I've said that on this platform for 12 years now. I have 6 YouTube channels, and I think I've probably mentioned on every one of them. If you do not get under the ground, you will not make it on the surface of this rock. Eventually, for a period of time, it's not going to be forever. So, but you have to endure to the end to survive, to be saved. So you have to die trying. You're not trying to save your life because your day of death is already written. You don't live like that, but you have to die trying. You have to endure to the last breath and try to be that last person sharing the gospel. As difficult as life can get, you just got to keep your head on, straight, and keep your spirit, your Hokodesh, and listen to that still voice inside your head, and endure to your last breath. And no matter how difficult he makes you, makes your life. I've had that, and I'm sure I have a lot more to come in the future days that are, because that's what the book says. Sorrows is going to get worse, not better. There's nothing says it's going to get better in Scripture. That's totally anti-Christ. It's as anti-Christ as it gets. Great again, peace. You've been part of this ministry. I'm not trying to convince anybody. So here's what I would like to convey, as I need to get to the message, because I've been doing it for about an hour and 14 minutes here. But mobility is everything. So I want to take this ministry and have the ability to go mobile, even if I don't extend out and go much further than my home state for now, or we'll see. I might go to homesteads. We'll see. I definitely want to get out of this country, but I'm having a very difficult time figuring out where to go. And anywhere would be good, but I want to be cautious about where I take and don't make any irrational decisions, and make sure I dot all my I's and cross all my T's so that I can have some success. I'm going to face tribulation. I'm going to face suffering, but how do I do this with success? But what is tempting me again is what has always been a part of this ministry, is to get away from people and not like just run away. But it's getting pretty close to where it's time to separate yourself from the society right now. This is not the time to be partaking in this chaos and this insanity that is going on in this country right now is beyond comprehension. And I don't care that people do whatever they do. I'm not trying to change a single person in this country. This country is got more issues than all the other countries combined. So it has no right to do what it does, and it's just an abomination. But it's okay. If I have to stay here, I stay here. But I'm trying to let Father show me where to go. And I know my instincts are just killing me to leave. So I don't want to leave in a hurry. But one thing I do know, that I need mobility, because that is the most important thing that I've been trying to tell you for preparedness, that not to fight. If you drive off the side of the road and you have a vehicle that will get you out of sight, out of mind, that's a success to me. I mean, you might be one little path off the road away from chaos going right by you, if that makes sense. So that's where I want, that's where I'm headed. I have it now, but I've talked with Kevin about this, and I need to improve that. I need reliability, and I need, I've already spoken with Kevin about this. There are more 2005 to 2015 Tacomas out there than there are any other model. That's a long run, So as much as I don't want to buy a newer vehicle, and it's not new because I'm just saying, but a more modern vehicle, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to because I was going to do that already. So if this court date comes and I don't have, any hangups, I want to, and I've already continued to stay hyper focused on getting a vehicle that will get me away from stupid nice people that don't do anything. So no, listen, I want a 2000. I don't care what model it is. Okay. I mean, I don't care what year per se, anywhere between 05 to 2014. The reason why I'm saying this, Rusty, is there's more of those out on Monday. So out on the road. So if you needed it for parts, Rusty, parts, nuts and bolts, we got screwed. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, like, if I need to, I don't mean to go Mad Max on it, but if I need to take something from, find a vehicle that's abandoned, just sitting there, and I need a part, there's going to be more of those on the road than there is any other model. So I'm doing it for that reason. Not looks, not glamour, not where can I get more parts to those models. Okay, but I can't. There's no models to pick from, Rusty. You know what I'm saying? I got you. My mind used to be like that. Totally like that all the time. But I can put on EMP proof. I can EMP proof a vehicle. It costs a lot of money to do it, but you can EMP proof. It's not that hard. You just create a gate in between the electric. Come on, it's not that. I'm not even that good with electric, and I understand how that's possible to create a, like a a red ring of death of this Xbox 360 that's going to stop the system from frying the whole system. I mean, that's a fuse, basically. It's another fuse box put in line, an inline fuse box, and then it can reconnect. And they have them out there. They're EMP things that will protect the vehicle from, it's not cheap, but I'll figure out how to get that on the vehicle too. So I totally agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Because my brain set used to always have that. I always had something with points. So I totally get you. But I need to blend in. I need to be able to get parts, and I need to look like just any other Joe. So I'm really trying to find a white one. And I don't want a white vehicle, but if we're going into a cold weather, and I can always change it like ISIS did. They stole all those Tacomas and splattered all that desert dust on them, and Vaseline the damn things up, a little skein of Vaseline, drive them around, and they turn into dusty brown Tacomas. That's why you got your flat Tacoma color. I call it ISIS beige. I painted mine that color, remember? My 4Runner's ISIS beige, so I did my rims like that too. So hey, you heard it here first. Hey, we got our ice wall here in America. So see what I'm saying? I want to blend in and look like any other utility vehicle. Hey, is that the meter reader? Is that the dog catcher? You know which one I'm talking about? That model, 05 to 2014. There's more of those running out 2015 on the road than any other Tacoma on the road. So I'd like to find the double cab. That's what I'm after. I don't want the access cab. I could get the access cab, maybe save myself a few bucks, but I'm not going to short on this. I should have already bought it. I gave up one just to give John the money I already gave up a double cab's worth of money to to buy a nice one too. I talked with Kevin about it today and said, I've got to make this happen soon, Kevin, because I want the ability to go now. You understand? I don't have it now. I have a vehicle that can get me there now, but will I have the reliability? It almost has 300,000 miles on it. They go for about 320, and it's had the timing belt and the water pump done, but can I drive it across the United States? Probably, but would I have the reliability? Not like I would if I went ahead and bucked up a good chunk of money and just put it out there. So I've been thinking about half pricing my land, the 5-acre parcel. So, and because that'll be enough to buy the truck that I need. I'm going to figure I have to spend about $20,000. It is what it is, man. I don't want to spend that kind of money. I never thought I'd spend that kind of money on a vehicle, but I'll never buy another vehicle ever again. No, I'll never need another vehicle. So I'm looking at trying to find something that is around 100, 125,000, maybe under 150,000, anywhere in that 05 to 2014. I could probably get that rate down to about 12 or 15, but I would rather get the reliability and pay a little more to get a newer vehicle with low miles. So I know for the next 200,000 miles, they're going to kick ass. As long as I do the regular maintenance on it. The only thing I see that these Toyotas have is this tire pressure sensor, because the tires, that's it. They don't seem to have any issues, so, and there are a lot of them out there around with 300,000 and 400,000 now too. So that's kind of my thought. And then I want to take the ministry on the road. So it's just part of a ministry cost to me. So I don't look at it that as like, oh my God, I'm spending that kind of money. So I have the other piece of land, and it's not the right time to sell it, but I don't know. I've been thinking about dropping the price of it and just seeing if I get somebody to I could have got a Tesla wall at $500 a month for 5 years. That guy was willing to, that was well over my asking price. Now I'm asking now, but it's just Father's timing. So we'll see. I'm going to try to do, like I said, everything without, like I said, in a panic, or just use what I have for now. And I'll just go with what I have for now. Either way, until I can get to that point. So that 4Runner is probably about $4,500 right now. They seem to go up maybe $5,000. It's a good looking 4Runner. I painted the rims. They've got newer Tacoma rims. It's got some paperwork from the dealership. I had a lot of work done to the front end to get it back exactly like, it should go for another, hopefully 100, 200,000 on the suspension wise or something, everything looked good. All that, went through and had it all looked at the Toyota dealership. I had to pay twice, remember, but I got it done. Father kicked my butt right there. So, but yeah, because mobility is everything. If you can't pull off the road, then, deal with whatever comes your way, deal with it. You could have kind of like, you probably could have had a job away from COVID, and you could have said no to COVID and not done that and quit your job, or already not been in the system and not had to, deal with, do I have to wear a mask to work? Because if I wear a mask, I'm going to get fired. And maybe if you were already your own system, we're kind of there right now, just so you know. Do you wait to go buy toilet paper for your bunghole when the store's closed or they have another toilet paper debacle, or do you slowly purchase toilet paper methodically, little extra roll, 36 couple packages here or there, so you've got TP for your bunghole. So yeah, I like to have a separated space from the animals too, because I don't plan on putting the animals in the back there. I plan on putting them in my animals. I just have my dog now. I don't have Tango and Pants, but probably the kitties too. So I'm not sure how I'm going to work that. Eventually, if I go, I want them to go with me. So, but I want mobility because I think it's the best thing for preparedness. It's the best preparedness plan you can have. I don't care how badass your bunker, shelter, how full of food it is, or how many weapons you have to guard it, how many beans or medical kits, or I don't know, even a bunch of people to protect it. You can get a bigger group of people come run you over. Now it's gone. What do you got now? You got a skill set. I think this is a time to go out to the woods and start learning how to trap and hunt and fish, and that's what's starting to tempt me more than anything. And I can do that if I have a vehicle that I can drive anywhere out in the woods. Be cautious, don't be popping tires, but drive through, especially where I'm at in the woods over here and on this side of the Cascades. If I have to stay here for now and just figure it out for now, and or find myself a better location, I feel as if I'm going to wander to the south. But the further I go to the south, the less the trees there are, and I like the idea of being in the woods around a supply of food. Now I plan on bringing as much food as I possibly can to the woods, freeze dried, prepared food that's already cooked for me, that I can just add a chipmunk to, or a rabbit to, or some shiitake, or some chanterelle mushrooms, or some berries, or some whatever I can muster up for the day. And so that is my goal, and I've already been hyper focused. So we'll see if after this court date, if they're going to drop it. I don't even think if they take me to court they're going to win. It's not looking good for them at this point when they want to try to make me a deal at the last moment for just a single misdemeanor and no supervised probation. That's like the least they can give me. That was what they've offered me after 18 months. So I could let that go and do everything I want right now, have that little dink on my blemish on my record and get it expunged in a year and a half, but I'm going to take it to the box. So unless they drop the case, I'm not going to back down. So that would be hypocritical of me to come in here and tell you you have to have faith and stand against their system and don't let that, he stood up against perverted law, and then for me to take a deal under that perverted law. So if I get thrown in jail, don't be mad at me, please. If this channel goes down for a little while, I don't know how long I'd be there. It's Father's will. I could avoid that right now. I could already said, nope, let's do that. Let's go ahead and take a misdemeanor. Probably would have been misdemeanor hindering prosecution. So probably not even a misdemeanor charge, but that's hypocrisy. And I would expect you to unsubscribe to this channel and make YouTube videos about me that I'm a hypocrite. He said he was a veteran. He said he was a police officer. He said he had, all this experience, and then told us that there was perverted the Wizard of Oz, and gave us all this knowledge of why we're repugnant and the right to face your. And then he took a deal, a plea bargain. So even at the minimal, I'm not going to save my own ass right now. So if I go to jail, don't be mad. I'll still file an appeal. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they're going to do to me. So I think what they're going to do is try to extend the case come Monday till January, because it's set for trial in a week. And I don't want to wait, because I want to go look for my son. And see, there's another thing. If I'm out there looking for my son, I need reliable transportation. I don't know, he could be in a different state, and I can find out he's been moved or relocated somewhere else or something, and I want the ability. I think he's deep in the woods where I think he's at now. I think he's deep in Mount Creek, Oregon, off Mount Creek, up there in the hills of Josephine County, and I'll be reporting his body again immediately come Monday after court. I'm going to call Josephine County. I'm going to try to get my bearing after court, but call and say, now, I reported my son murdered and missing. You wouldn't report him. Now there's no contact order. I want you to go look for Marshall Radonich and find out where my silver and gold, and find out if he has my passport, because I want him charged federally if he still has that passport in his possession, which I do believe you need to investigate. Did he ever send it at the Wolf Creek post office? So, Pat Wolke, Wolke of Wolf Creek in Josephine County. Wolk and Wolfie, yeah, that's okay, whatever. I'm kind of on to what's going on there. So I'm sure Father has a plan for me. I don't want to make any. I'm just preparing for both, to go to jail and not go to jail. So if I don't go to jail, to drop my charges, I don't have any records, so I shouldn't have any issues. Life will go back to, I don't know. I've been thinking about it, man. I am lost without my son and my dog. When I started this, I had a dog and a son, and no, I don't know if I'm down a dog, and I don't even have my son or my daughter. So it's been a very difficult time for me in my life. So those are the only two, I've got Pants now and Bone, and I love him, and he's amazing. I'm glad that Father, he's struggling too. He's been whining a lot, but he's just not used to being the only dog. So he'll figure it out, like I'll figure it out. I whine a lot too. So, but I'll make it through it. And no matter what happens, I'm not going to be upset if I end up getting railroaded and they send me to jail. So I don't think that's going to happen. There's not going to be a trial. I don't want to say there is, or, because there might be there. It's set for trial, but I think that found a dog. Yeah, Tango. I lost Tango, my big dog, the big guy. He just overnight, man. So I live stream it if you want to see his last moments. He was hard. He was whimpering and having a lot of. His stomach flipped on him. So that happens when they get old. So he died of old age, basically. That's what they told me. Your dog is 13 years old? No way. He looks like he's young, and he has the physique and, no gray in his muzzle, none of that. Remember, he was a puppy the night before. So, yeah, I miss him so much. I miss my biggie so much. I do. But I did get almost 13 amazing years with him, and proof that if you feed him good food, you don't feed him people food. And he never went to the vet, and was real adamant about never giving him, like when people always wanted to try to give milk bones when I go out to the gas station or something, like, oh, here's a milk bone for you. No, he don't eat that. No, thank you. Very cautious to not let him eat crap. So if you feed your dogs good, they told me that most dogs his size, like standard poodles, 130, 125, 30, 40, 50 pound dogs with a big cavity, with a big chest cavity like he had, only make it about 6 to 8 years. And that is about the max. They say people that they're a veteran, emergency veteran, and they said it happens on a regular basis. People come in there daily with dogs that are about 8 years old, and their stomach, just the way their body's designed, and they have obviously different stomach than us, it just twists on them and it turns over. So I could have paid $11,000 and I didn't have it, but I was filling out the paperwork and I can hear him whimpering in the back, and I've never heard him in pain. So I'm glad I sold that motorcycle, because the motorcycle money paid to have Tango. I tried to do everything I can. They took, it was like $300 or something, an x-ray or something. I can't believe the cost they do for an x-ray, but there was like 3 x-rays, and then they, sedated him, and then they gave him morphine, and then they went in and tried to puncture his stomach to relieve all that bloating and the pressure before they thought if I had, the money or whatever to turn his stomach back over. So I threw everything I could at him, and so they came and said, we've got to have to make a decision. He's either going to have to go in for this surgery, and we don't have any more time, or you have about a half an hour, and he was whimpering, and I was, and I said, no, let's finish it now. And so he heard me. He didn't see me because he was gone. His eyes, where he was being strangled. It was almost a 2-hour drive to get to Bend. So it was a long, grueling drive. So I'll never forget him. He's a good dog, but like they said, I did the right thing by giving him a good life, and it would have been wrong to see him suffer, because he didn't suffer. He was a puppy the night before, and he just woke up, panting. And I should have kind of seen it coming, because boy, the week or two prior, he was drinking at the water bowl like excessively, like, damn dog, and it's kind of get more and longer and longer. And I think it was his body preparing to lubricate and do what it does. So I'm glad I gave him good food his whole life, and he only suffered for about 6 hours. So almost 13 years with, no suffering. And I mean, he had to suffer when he got gassed in here and whatever Marshall did to him. But when he was in my care, I tried everything I could to be a good steward of these animals, as we were told to be good stewards of this rock. Oh, we have given dominion over the animals. So Mr. Bone sure misses his brother a lot too, and he is just lost like Dad is. So I was kind of clinging to Tango. Remember, I thought he'd be around for another 4 or 5 years, and that was kind of a pipe dream, if you will. But he lived a long life, and I'm glad that I didn't have $11,000. I probably would have spent it. And that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. In the moment, I might have. So I called Kevin, and he helped me a little bit, help remind me that Tango's an old dog, not a puppy. I keep calling him a puppy, the big act like a puppy, but he's not. He's an old man. So I miss every moment now with him. And my life it's floating now, kind of in a floating kind of a deal, because he kind of kept me attached. Remember all my worries about going on the road and being separated from him, and how he, I just knew he's too old, and that, not like that, but he just is so attached to me. And now he's not. Now none of those things are gonna be a factor. So Father's perfect. And as I said, I might go to jail. And if that happened when Kevin was here, because Kevin would have to watch him. Kevin might not know, what had happened, and might not get the same diagnosis. I don't know. And Kevin might have thought he was responsible for doing that to Tango. So I'm so glad that it happened before, if that's what Father's preparing me for, which I want that. But Father doesn't normally give me what I want in my life. So it wouldn't be the way it is right now, for sure, but it's okay. I'm okay with the way it is. But I am thankful for almost 13 years with an amazing, wonderful puppy dog who just was a puppy again the day before, and just woke up to him panting. I'm glad I got up. I just didn't feel something I woke up from. I wouldn't sleep long, and he was just panting, just pacing and panting and pacing, and he was being strangled. So that's what it does. It chokes them out. Pretty soon their brain gets shut off, and they just, they can't. It just kills them. Their stomach turns, and it cuts off their circulation to their brain. They got oxygen to their brain. So that's why they have to go in there and do emergency surgery. And I didn't have $11,000, so I'm glad that I didn't, because then I probably would have paid it. And they said that there is a very good probability that his age and his, that it would happen again within a month or two, and he'd probably struggle from the, because there really isn't nothing to keep it. They don't like stand it or it just. But I miss him so much. I miss my son so much. So I feel like I'm just kind of dangling out here right now in the world, but it's okay. I'm anchored in faith, man. I'm anchored in faith, so I haven't gone astray or anything. Just feel very alone because I don't really have like immediate friends or family. Like, glad I have Kevin here, but he's been gone for a little bit. He just got back here, so it's good to have him around. But like I said, I don't even know if Kevin would go with me if I went on the road. I'm not sure if he kind of likes it here. So I'm glad that he's found his sanctuary here. This is a beautiful place. I'm so glad that Father sent me Kevin. He's a man after the word, and he's not afraid to speak the truth. Most people are very afraid to open up their mouth and talk about the harder things. Stop candy coating his whole life and acting like everything's okay when they're just we don't live in a yeah, well, that's fine. But, get out of the system now if you can. And that's a nice thing about death, is you don't have to keep contributing to the system. That's for sure. You won't be contributing more dollars, any war dollars or debt dollars, right? But that is true. I mean, as much as I don't like what you said, that is, but that's why if you die to self daily, like the scripture tells you, you'll be pulling yourself out of the system. Be in it, but be not of it, is what the word tells us, right? Come out of her, my people, right? She'll be given the wings of the angel. She will flee to the wilderness and be given that safety. So you're supposed to not be, fighting chaos and calamity and being around big cities and violence and convenience. You're supposed to be more organic. Broad is the way that leads to the wide gate. So that key is knowledge. So if you were out in the woods, you would have some access to some food, wouldn't you? If you were in a good wooded area, and if you were in an area like Oregon, which would be kind of an ideal state to ride out the storm, you can move every 14 days, and they won't. You can be out there in the woods; they won't come mess with you, So I don't plan on having anything illegal or doing anything illegal in the wood, or So probably. Like I said, I'll just bring enough food where I don't need food. And if I get food, I'm probably going to try to more, just do fishing and some of the basics. And I might some small game. I mean, I think there's small game that you can hunt year round, squirrels and varmints and things like that. And I'll be eating squirrels, rabbits, whatever, man. So be adding it to my stash, to my freeze-dried pack, my backpacker meals, my prepared meals already, so I can make them even better. So put wild food in it, natural food, and add it to my already, not the greatest, but better food than most people have access to, and get away from people, get my skills set up. So I think in my life, it's time to go to the woods, man. I mean, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to keep this going. I'm not going to stop this at all. But I want that mobility to start putting this together so I can go get the skill set, go hang out at the woods for a little bit, spend the night, go hike into a trail, into a fishing trail by foot, go try to drive into some, backwoods lake or something. There's Cascade lakes all over on this side of the Cascades. So I need to start practicing these things. So I need a good vehicle. So I'm going to get focused on that, and I'm hoping that if this court date comes and passes, obviously my first priority is try to find my son and daughter. Well, I'm going to take this call. I know who this is. Oh, okay, hold on one second. Just give me 1 second. That's not what that was. Hold on. Hey guys, I got to go. I'll be back here in a little bit. I got to take care of this. Kevin called me. He needs me for a minute. He needs to call because he needs me. So I'll be back, for the end of the day. Pastor Revelation, Pastor Apocalypse. Links are in the description. If you want to ministry, thumbs up, comments are always appreciated. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Pastor Revelation, Pastor Apocalypse. Whoa.
Whoa.